AE Corona Days number 5 with our beautiful Amalia. Hi, Amalia.
Hi, Ron.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I miss flying and people.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying those sessions because I get to see everybody, which I miss very much.
Yeah.
So yesterday was a lot of fun, huh? With the compulsory sessions. Um, we talked before and we said we're gonna stick to the sport parts and less the shows and the camps and everything around it, so we can give flyers as much input and ideas and inspiration as possible. So we'll do our best. So let's start. Let's begin from the very beginning, the first time we met. Nordic meet, fighting for the Norwegian medal for freestyle for the first time.
Yeah.
My first time judging in Norway freestyle, and the first time we met. Tell us about this experience.
Um. So I actually started. The first time I tried flying was in 2012. Um. And then after that, I started doing FS with the Varsvin girls. And in the start of 2016, the instructors, one of the instructors in Voss was like, you should do freestyle. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did. And we had 3 months to prepare. So I could like carve and do layouts and transitions and stuff, not very good. But training for this competition forced me to improve a lot because I had to. So that's how the freestyle started.
Um, there were only 3 competitors. It was you, Dave, and Espen.
Yes.
And I remember Dave coming to me afterwards and saying, "She almost got me on the compulsories. She almost got better scores on the compulsory." And I was like, "Yeah, compulsory, we're good." And Kira still calls you the queen of compulsories. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but it started already over there. But if you don't mind, I want to jump immediately to the first international competition that was not too long after that one.
That was in Warsaw. I think that was.
Yeah, the second World Cup in Warsaw. Tell us about this one. It's already like a different flyer in there, just a few months later.
I just kept on flying and tried to improve as much as possible. And so after the competition in Voss, they were like, okay, now you go to the World Cup. And I was like, okay, I guess you're going to the World Cup then. And then it was just, let's go, let's train.
How was that experience? It was not easy, I remember.
I was terrified the whole competition. It was the worst 3 days of my life. I was terrified, but it was very fun. I met a lot of people. I got learned some very important lessons, and it was a very cool competition. But it was not easy. No, it was. I felt very inexperienced when I was there.
What do you mean important lessons? What kind of lessons?
No, just like for every competition that you do, you learn how much about yourself, like how you react to competitions, what are important, what is important to remember. Like often when you go in the second day, the first round of the second day is quite hard.
Because
Yeah, because then you've had one day of competition and then you're back to start because you have your first round of the day. So it's just like the mindset before every round is stuff I learned about how to be around the other competitors, how to stay calm and stay relaxed, and also a lot about how to put together the routines.
some of the flyers that were competing there, you already knew from before, right? You met them before. Or was just the first time you met everybody?
I knew Inka because she had trained me, and I don't think I actually knew the other freestylers. Like I'd seen them on social media maybe, but I didn't know them. So I did not actually know a lot of people when I was there.
How intimidated it is for a first time open international competition to meet all those flyers and see the level and be surrounded with just so much freestyle, because before that you were three competitors in a competition and now you have 20, 30 with the kids. How does it feel?
It's very inspiring because you see all of this flying and you see so many different styles and you realize that there's so many people training and you're not one of few, you're one of many, and you also watch the dynamic and those kind of things and you just see like, wow, like these guys have been doing this for lots of time. But it's also like you come there and you do there's lots of things that you don't know that you're expected to know. Like I didn't even have any training time before Warsaw because I forgot that I had to book it, because you have to book it really early in advance, and I had never been competing anywhere else than Voss. I didn't know. And in FS you only need like 3-4 minutes and then you're like, yeah, we got this. And in freestyle it's very like, okay, you need like at least 2 hours before a competition to get used to the tunnel. So that was one important lesson I learned as well. But it's quite intimidating, and then it's also very good to just get out there and just start competing. Like it doesn't matter if you've been flying for 2 years or 10 months or whatever, like you just have to start trying because that's the only way you can push yourself.
You got last or one before last on this one, I think.
But I got lost.
On the open.
Yeah, last.
So how do you get out of you get out of the competition? You got last, obviously not what you were hoping for. How do you keep going? What keeps you going?
I think it's very important to be open about both the good and the bad. Maybe that. But honestly, I don't think that I deserve to be higher in that competition. Like I was really fresh, and it's kind of like, it's not nice to say that you came last because it's not like, woohoo. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but now you can only get better.
And like, you did.
I'm lost in the world now, so I can just get better.
So let's see the next one. The next one was Canada, 2016.
Yes, that was a year later.
So this is already, we can say, Amalie style, more. There are different styles in freestyle. That's the biggest problem of judging it. It's so hard to compare. But you definitely have your own style. Like people say, this is Amalie, even if we don't see the name on it.
The most important thing is to get independent in your training. Like I was very lucky. Like I got trained from Inca, I got trained from Dayz, and instructors in Voss was like my brothers. Like, they helped me a lot. But I was quite early very independent in my training. Like I would train even though no one else would be training with me. And thinking about the flying myself and not being dependent on anyone to tell me what to do. And then I think also like you need to fly what you like to fly. Like you can't create a routine thinking that, oh, this is what the judges want or this is what people want to see. Like it's more, I need to fly what I want to fly because I can only fly like me. So you need to do what you want to do and then develop those things, because that's the way you're going to develop your own style. Yeah, I see like side carving and side layouts that I started flying already then that I kind of stuck to in different ways. And then also the ball coming here is a trick that is not mine. Like it was Dave Reeder that first did it. And I started flying it in my routines and started developing it in my own creations. Because it's like, you should never copy someone else. Like you should see them as inspiration and then you take the things and you make it to your own and put your own style and to it and think about it in new ways, because that's the only way for your flying and the sport to progress, is just keep pushing all the things.
Was 2018 competing at home. So how was it competing at home?
It was very special. It was a lot of fun and also a bit intimidating because you're at your home tunnel, but it's also like you feel a little bit safe.
Now here we see the squishy ball again. Before you could hardly do 1 or 2 and stay in place, and now you can go forever and take it everywhere you want. That's an example of how you keep pushing the same thing. And can you tell us about this one?
This was an idea that popped into my head one day. I just started thinking about how can you, because it started with me trying to fly the Space Lab with a 180 between every step. And then when I could do that one, I started thinking like, how can I make this 4-dimensional? And I started, it's a very mathematical move because you really need to know where you are. So I just started doing the same move, but then also every second step I would change my heading 90 degrees. And I just had the idea of this walk continuing, like walking inside a box. And that's how it started.
You once told me that was the hardest move you ever done. Is that correct?
I don't know which move is the hardest for me to ever done, but it was difficult to take it from my head into the flying, like knowing where to put my legs, because you're constantly switching and turning, and just understanding how to bring it into flying and how to make it look good.
Do you have a philosophy behind your flying? I know, like, if we cannot take the move forward, then it's not what I want to do. You said that once before, but
yeah, when I make my routines, I always try to put things in there that I cannot do. Yeah. So I don't want to put stuff in my routine that I can already perform or already do well, because then I'm not teaching myself new things. Like if I want to progress, I have to continue pushing, so I can't put anything in my routine that I already can do, already have done, without trying to improve it or make it better. And I also just try to find the flow, if that makes any sense, like in the moves. Like, it's how to get out and get into things nicely without losing the flow of the flying. So
I think the best way to try to explain what is going on in this little pretty head of yours is to share this. Ron, how do you like my routine? And I was like, I think it's actually pretty cool, and I can understand what's going on here, I think. Do you want to share?
Yeah, it's like I can't always explain what is going on in my head. Like, I'm constantly thinking about flying and moving, and I can be like looking at a wall and just be like, what would that be if I would put it into a routine and I would do this and fly like that. And then so step 1 is like thinking of it, and then step 2 is trying to draw it, and then step 3 is thinking more about it, and then step 4 is trying it in the tunnel. And then you try it and it doesn't work, so you need to alter it, and then you try again and you change it and you try and change, and then it ends up being maybe something different from what you thought it would be, but it just turned into something that you're like, ooh, cool.
Don't you get yourself stressed sometimes that it's getting too closer to the competition and you're not ready yet?
Always.
Always. Did you ever find something that you want to add, like a last minute thing?
Yeah, because often when I'm right before a competition, I'm like, oh, what about that thing or this thing? And oh, that would be cool. And then there's like trusting yourself, like, okay, this is good. We're going to stick to this. I mean, you're never going to be ready for a competition. Like, you can always be better. But sometimes you just have to accept that this is what I'm doing and this is what we're sticking to. And like, after the competition, we go harder.
A very big part of the routines of your routine and your style are the lines. They're always interesting and beautiful and different. How do you come up with those lines? You just go inside and play and...
I do go inside and play. Like, I just love to fly. So if I could fly as much as I want in a day, I would probably just never leave the tunnel. But I just try to look at shapes and think about how I can, like, not do something statically. Like, how can I make it fly and how can I make it move and how can I make the space my own? Because you have 14 foot or 17 foot and that's your space, and like, how much can you move and create and fly around within that space? So it's just being curious and experimenting and thinking about, oh, what about if I do this kind of loop and I go back, and what if I reverse? And then, yeah, I would say that's what I do.
Let's go back to European Championship. You're the first European champion, and it was getting the gold with your own home audience and with the Norwegian flag. Tell us more about the feelings, the excitement. Did you cry a lot?
What?
Did you cry a lot?
I don't think I cried as much for this one. I have this mentality of the competition is not over until it's over. So even though I saw in the last round that, oh, I might win this time, I don't let myself accept that or realize that before the last scores are out. So it was after the rounds were finished where I actually realized that, oh, I won this, like, I did this. It was such a strange feeling. And then to be able to go on the podium and hear your national anthem and have the flag, and yeah, it was very special.
In your eyes, what is the perfect routine?
When you fly with your heart.
Wow.
Okay.
The
routine is when you created something that you love yourself and you perform it with a smile every time. Like, that is the perfect routine. And then it is also never perfect. Like, it can always be better. So I would not say that there's anything as perfect flying, because it can always be better.
Which one of your routines so far you like the most?
I think maybe the little one.
Let's
The
watch
one
it.
from the World Championship is my favorite one.
Now we're going to get ready for Amalie. So you're now seeing the top 5 on screen.
Rafa.
We've got Amalie here in third place.
Rafa and
If
Kira,
she pulls
actually.
her routine off perfectly now, she should secure a bronze medal for Norway at this World Meet.
So tell us about this routine. Why do you like it so much?
I think it's mostly the ideas that I had before making the routine. Like, I knew quite what I wanted, and I think I did quite well on moving things around the tunnel. And I really liked it because it was in the 17 foot. Like it was massive, like you had so much space compared to a 14 foot. I mean, it's nothing compared to a 32-foot tunnel. Remember the feeling of flying in it was really, really cool. And I also designed my routine for a 17-foot tunnel. So it was quite hard to fly in a 14 foot. So it was like when I got to Wemby and I could finally fly it the way it was supposed to be, it was a very cool feeling.
Music is not easy to match your routine, right? I mean, in this one, it's more of a Viking music, am I right?
Way the Norwegian native people sing. So this is very special for the.
I can't hear you.
It's very special for the natives of Norway, the native Norwegian people. Like this is the way they sing. It's called joik. It's a very special kind of singing. It's like when I find music, I want to find something that just makes me very happy and makes me want to fly and makes me feel something. And then I try to use that in my routines.
So music first and then a routine, or the other way around?
I wish I could say that that is the truth, but it's not. But this one, I think I was sitting 2 weeks before and just like, this the music that I chose, I didn't like it anymore. And I was like, I don't know. And then I found, my mom showed me this song and I was like, that's it. That's the one we're using.
I love it. It's really, it's different. I like different. It brings you home with you. Like I think if any flyer would bring their home music with them, it would be super interesting to watch.
I think it's the important thing with the music is that it's very easy to compromise your flying to fit the music. But if you watch dancers or something, like their dancing is still amazing, even though it's choreographed to the music. So I think what is very important to remember is to, like, you still need to fly. Like the music should give something to the routine, not take anything away. So it's important to not like, oh, I can't do this move this way because it doesn't fit the music, and then it kind of takes away difficulty or presentation.
I think another mistake is sometimes the music force you to repeat things.
Yeah, it's very hard to find the right music for a routine because you don't have a lot of time, and lots of songs have like a chorus and then add up and then a drop, and then it doesn't really fit the feeling. So to find a song that actually fits what you want to do is quite hard.
Yeah. Let's talk compulsory a little bit. Compulsory. We love compulsory, right? This is compulsory round 2 from Wimby.
Yeah.
As I said before, Kira calls you the queen of compulsories. And you make it look so easy. How do you do it?
You need to train them.
No, seriously. What's your tips for compulsory round?
I remember the thing I was most surprised about at my Warsaw competition, the World Cup in 2016, is that people told me that they didn't have their compulsory routines. Like they would just go in and fly and then do their compulsories whenever it fitted. And I just found this really odd because that's like showing up to a competition without your helmet. It's just really weird. It's like, how do you expect to perform something very well the way compulsories are expected to be performed if you have not prepared or trained a specific routine?
It's not just about the training, because we talked a lot about it yesterday when we did the compulsory session with everybody.
Yeah.
It's about strategy as well. I mean, compulsory is a really big game changer. It can take your gold away.
They can.
And as you said, neglecting those, it's not very smart.
And also, like, you like take them seriously. Like the compulsories, you go to this competition, you sign up for the game. A part of the game is to do the compulsories. To train your compulsories to the best of your ability. Like if you show up without have trained your compulsories, then you cannot expect to win.
Yeah. Caroline suggested yesterday for everybody to watch your compulsory videos and learn them and study them. And one of the tips she gave is keep it simple. Keep the connections, keep the setup to the compulsory simpler. Do you want to expand on that, to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, the setup for the compulsories are very important. Like you need to, if the setup is good, then it will perform the move correctly or nicely. If your setup is off, it's very easy that will go over your actual compulsories. Like if you're supposed to do a barrel but your layout is off, then you're going to be often going to get deducted. And also, if you have done a massive spin right before a compulsory, then you also might be off because you're busy. So it's keep it simple and keep it strong is my general tips. Like the flying doesn't need to be super complicated, but it needs to be strong when you want to do compulsories.
What do you mean by strong?
Like you need to have planned, like the layout is going to come here, and then I'm going to be on the center line because I'm going to do this line before the barrel that's going to keep me in the right spot. And then since the compulsories are so much about how they look, like they need to look clean. If they look clean, then you've done a really good job. So if your flying is not strong or precise, they're not going to look clean. So,
any idea how long you're going to keep competing?
I don't know.
You're going to take it outdoor? Should we send Johan a warning? She's coming?
I don't know if I will go outdoors. Yeah, I really love flying in the tunnel. I feel like I have so much more to give. Like I remember someone telling me after the European is like, oh, but now you can stop. One. And I'm like, what do you mean? Stop. I've just started. So I want to keep doing freestyle, and I want to develop the sport and push it. And I also want to do female two-way and four-way teams.
Tell us more about that. You mean freestyle or dynamic?
Dynamic. Although two-way and four-way freestyle would be really cool. So I'm doing that too. I just think we need more girl teams in the sport, and girls need to fight together. So that's what I would like to do. I would like to do girls teams.
You've been since 2016 in all the competitors meeting, and you heard all the complaints and all the requests and everything. Some ideas came up a few times. I asked Rafa the same question, like dividing between male and female, like it used to be in outdoor, or maybe changing classifications in the freestyle to bring more flyers in. What do you think about that? Should we keep it together, or?
I don't think the sport is ready to separate female and male, and we see sometimes the girls are better than the guys, and sometimes the guys are better than the girls. It's kind of hard, those kind of things. I think it's more important to develop the format than separating female and male, because then we'll have 5 or maybe 10 female competitors and then 5 guy competitors, and it's not going to be as
any ideas for the format, like cool things you will think gonna work?
A lot of time to think about the way we do compulsories and try to think about a way that we can like get new compulsories and how to give a little bit more to them. Like, cause now it's just moves, and maybe we should have it more as a draw or add more. Like you need to do this kind of line to get into the compulsory and this kind of line to get out of the compulsory. So it gets a bit more difficult.
What do you think about having a format like in dynamic, that you have qualification rounds, free and compulsories, and then battles?
It would be cool.
Actually did this in Belgium. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And it actually made it a little bit more interesting because if it's a compulsory round, the best flyer can fall down because they didn't prepare the compulsories, like you just said. And
But then it's also cool if it's a draw, because then everyone is coming there with the same cards. Like it doesn't, you can do all the compulsories, but if you can't perform when you're supposed to perform, sorry.
yeah, any tips for new flyers?
Tips. I would say don't let your ego stand in the way for your progression. Like it's easy to get frustrated with yourself or stressed out or something that is kind of taking away from your training. So kind of try and leave this when you go into the tunnel, like now you're a beginner again and now you're just here to progress and improve. And like, don't be afraid to fly on 55% and bounce off the net, because it's in the end going to make you a better flyer. And then I would also say that try to, like, you need to love what you do. You need, like, passion is always going to beat everything else, because you're going to have the creativity, you're going to have the ideas, and you're going to have the strength to push through all those bad days. Maybe also, like, I think it's very easy to also, in competitions, there's a lot of feelings, like you train really hard for this, you might not get the result that you wanted, but try to not let that affect your competition. Like, you're in the competition, the results are going to be what the results are going to be, but try to not let yourself get affected by everything that goes around. Like, you don't need to look at the scores after every round. Like, you can be on your own if you need to. Like, just go there and have fun when you fly a routine, because you're probably never going to fly that same routine again. So try to have fun in the competitions, even though you might get disappointed about something, because if you fly and have fun, like, it's going to show when you fly.
I agree. Unlike other sports, like if you look at arithmetic or gymnastic, you usually know those three are going to be on the podium, you know, or even in outdoor flying these days, you can guess who's going to lead the battle. Indoor freestyle is very different. I think in every competition, because we have so many super talented flyers, open and juniors, you never really know. Like, if you can be on top on one and number 6, 7, 8, or 9 on the other, and you're still one of the best flyers in the world. So I think it's something that people need to accept more. Like,
So too, like, in competition, it's all about performing when you're supposed to perform. And even though you're a great flyer and you have lots of years of experience, if you didn't have the best routine compared to all the other ones there, you might not reach the top. And it's not because you're a bad flyer. Like, everyone is pretty much really great, but it's not. We can't have the best routine every time. In a lot of cases, like, there might be someone that thought of something that you didn't think about, or just, yeah, I think, how am I supposed to say this without someone?
let me help you. Sometimes we have two flyers. One is super creative, one is super technical. And I know our sometimes very harsh community out there saying, oh, the best flyer should take it. But actually, the more creative one, even if it's not super technical or not the cleanest flying, should be more appreciated just for being creative and coming up with new stuff. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, but I also think that it's also about what the routine looks like from an outside perspective when it's done. Like, what does it actually look like? Because you can be really creative, but it's all over the place. So you can be really technical, but it's maybe a lot of repetition or something like this. So in competitions, it's actually about who has the most different combinations and keeping it interesting and keeping people on their toes. Than just because often you have both technical and creative in different aspects, but sometimes it's just combined in a better way that creates the better routine that often takes the medal.
Now, you had a routine ready for airspace now, right? We were supposed to have this competition last week.
I know.
I assume you had a routine ready with the music and everything, and now we are all stuck at home. Did you open it up and you're gonna start rethink it and change it and come up with something completely different?
I had so much time to think, so I'm just thinking every day. So it's kind of cool. Like I see this as just an opportunity to improve what you already have. Like I have already changed combinations in my mind, seen different things just because I have more time to work with it. So I think that before maybe I had the skeleton of the routine, and now I can like really think about all the little connections that you might not have time to think about normally. So
thinking is a big part of your training. Like,
yeah, it's also because most of us are just training ourselves. Like you have to come up with things and you have to be creative and you have to think. And if your layout or outface carbon or that move is not performed, is not flying well, then you have to find the reason why it's not flying perfectly or better or how to improve it. And you have to do this constantly, otherwise you're going to kind of fall behind on all the other ones coming behind you.
How else do you use this downtime for training?
I train a lot now. I train about 1 or 2 times a day, 2 to 4 hours, sometimes less, sometimes more.
Doing what?
I've done quite a bit of yoga. Like now I stopped because I did a bit too much. Improving flexibility and improving strength and improving mobility. I think it's very important to have a strong body when you're flying, and you need to work on your body and mind as much as you work on your flying. Also, we don't know, the sport has not been around for long enough that we know what the damages you can get from flying could be. Maybe there is none, maybe there's a lot. So it's very important to train and keep your body healthy outside, and then also it's going to make your flying better. And you're going to be able to do more moves because you have more flexibility, or you're going to be able to be faster because you are already fast. And it's very important to train as well as train flying, because training outside of tunnel flying is not going to make you a worse tunnel flyer, at least. Maybe it will work, like we don't know yet. I think it's working. Some people might say it doesn't work, but at least it's not going to make you worse.
Do you know what's your next goal, or what is your dream?
In flying?
I don't know.
Like, if I can come with the selfish dream first, my dream is to have unlimited tunnel time. I would probably just turn into like a dried out racing, because I wouldn't leave the tunnel. I would just sleep in there and be in there and fly on all the different speeds, like every day. When people tell me like, no, you wouldn't fly every day if you had a limited tunnel time, I'm like, yes, I would. At least for a few years. That is like my own little bit of selfishness dream that you can't really tell people that are not flyers, because you sound like a complete maniac. But I think I would really like to challenge like every boundary of the sport and what I'm able to do. And I would really like to keep on teaching people. I want to push like the girls teams, like get more girls to fly, get them flying together, like show that you can actually fly too, because it's a very male dominated sport yet. Like when I go to tunnels, this might be like 2, 3, 4 girls instructors, but there's always more guys than girls. So I think it's very important to push the girls, especially in dynamic, so that they also can become a bigger community in the sport. And it would be really cool to do like real performances, like that you can actually train for, and you perform performances that's been worked on for months, with other flyers, with alone, with music, and really turn it into like that you can do this performance part of it as well. But a little bit like next level. Like my dream is just trying to go to the next level that we don't know what's going to be yet.
Out of space. Cool. I can keep talking to you forever, you know.
I know. I want to keep on talking. I don't know if I have anything good to say, but this is fun. So,
so thank you. Been a pleasure, really, and I hope people will enjoy it as much as I did.
I hope so too. And also, don't fly if you break your ankle. I did that. It's not smart. Don't do it. You might be okay, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that.
Okay, I promise not to do anything crazy with a broken ankle. Okay.
Don't compete in QI dynamic with a broken ankle.